going on, Merc fam? In today's review, we're going to be going over the last 2 episodes of Loki, alright? I did miss last week's episode due to Father's Day and all the excitement in my household. I wasn't able to jump on it, but today we are going to eliminate both reviews at once, alright? But look, before we get into that, I want to make sure that everybody likes, subscribes, and go ahead, tap that notification bell one time for your boy. I just want to make sure that everything I post, you are aware of. Now, without further ado, let's get into this variant Loki review. So in episode 2, we find Loki and Mobius, who is Owen Wilson's character, on this quest to find this variant Loki. For those who may not know, there are different variations of Loki that are out there in the universe, but there is one terrorizing the sacred timeline. So essentially what Mobius is trying to do is watch Loki and learn his moves, learn his mannerisms, try to figure out his patterns, so that later on he is able to nab the bad guy Loki. Mobius is really putting a lot of faith into Loki, but at the same time, he's not trusting him. Loki actually finds out that the variant is hiding in apocalypses, and this concept was pretty hard for me to understand. I actually had to watch the episode a little bit. I'm gonna give you guys an example. Let's say there's an earthquake or a tsunami or some sort of disaster that kills a bunch of people that is destined to happen. Loki was theorizing the best location for this Loki to be hiding is right before an apocalypse, because he's able to do what he wants, and the timekeepers already know that there's going to be this cataclysm event that's going to end humanity and permanently affect the timeline. So you're able to do whatever, you can cause havoc. No one's going to stop you because this event is going to happen, which is a perfect place for the bad guy variant Loki to hide. Not only is the variant Loki hiding in a certain place, but he's hiding in a certain time. Episode 2 really focused in a little bit more on Loki and Owen Wilson's characters. They actually end up taking the risk and going into a certain time frame where they knew that the variant was going to be, or they suspected. They came, the cavalry showed up, and essentially the variant Loki was there hiding, which I liked a lot. Loki was able to put his wits and his intelligence together to actually figure out where the variant was going to be, and he was successful in his theory. Episode 2 wraps up with us finding out that there is a variant Loki, but it's not who or what we thought. It is actually Lady Loki, and some people were suspicious with who she actually was, being that one of her horns were broken and her hair was blonde, not black. I don't want to get everybody confused, but there is a Lady Loki and there is a Sylvie character. In the comic books, Loki is repossessed into this woman body, alright? And through that body, he does many things in the Marvel Universe, and he ends up getting back into his normal self. He actually becomes a child. There are a lot of different stories in the Loki comics. What my theory is, they're taking different aspects from different comic series of Loki, and they're gonna make their own version of it. That's just what they do. They did that with WandaVision. They did it with the Captain America and the Falcon. They're not necessarily straying away from the comic book material, but actually combining a lot of different things and making it their own, but it still makes sense and pays homage to the source material. So at the end of episode 2, the Lady Loki variant gets away and Loki ends up following her, leaving behind Mobius and the Time Variance Authority. Episode 3 was pretty cool. I felt that it was more of a filler episode. It wasn't as exciting as the first 2, but we really got to see Loki and Lady Loki, let's just call her Sylvie. We got to see Loki and Sylvie learn how to work together, put their history to the side, and try to get out of where they are. They were accidentally transported to the beginning of an apocalypse where a whole planet collides with a moon, and it is complete destruction throughout that planet. Loki ends up damaging the device that can get them from one place to another, and they have to jump through so many hoops and hurdles to try and get to this Ark, which is a ship, to get them off. Unfortunately, the demise of this planet is inevitable. So as they're gonna jump on this transporting ship, which is gonna take them somewhere safe, it actually explodes just like it was supposed to. And I know that I'm skipping over a lot. The episode was a lot, and I'm trying to debunk everything myself without going on YouTube and finding all the answers. What I really enjoyed was the dynamic between the two. If they they weren't the same person, I could see them dating. It reminded me a lot how Zemo had to integrate himself with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? You got good guys with bad guys. They have to fight a common enemy or get over a certain problem together, and you get to see their differences on the table, and you watch how they unfold through all these things. I really enjoyed to see Lady Loki and Loki together in this episode. Nothing really crazy happened in episode 3. They spent a lot of time with the two characters just trying to make you like Lady Loki and show you things that make you sympathize with the character. You have to take note that in the Marvel Universe, there are a lot of villains, but sometimes, and majority of the times, these villains have to work with the superheroes and you grow to like them. So not only do you have your favorite superhero, but what? You got your favorite villain, right? At the end of the day, I really enjoyed this episode more for the fact that I got to see Loki do a lot more. People were fighting. Lady Loki was fighting. They had this one-shot sequence at the end when the planet collides with the moon and there are meteors crashing down. We even got to see Loki use his telekinesis to stop a building from crushing them. I think that the Loki show has so much potential. Not only is it just really exciting, it's almost like a crime thriller, but it's a little bit different from WandaVision or the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm gonna explain to you why. In WandaVision, she starts off, she's lonely and depressed. At the end, she's still lonely, flying off. I'm sure that she was depressed, and she just kind of ventures off to keep doing her own thing. The Falcon and Winter Soldier acknowledge the fact that there has to be a new Captain America. Okay, that's cool. But in this series, they're talking about the multiverse. They're explaining the sacred timelines and bringing up timekeepers, and these are people and things that are gonna mean so much more later down the line. It's gonna tie into Doctor Strange. It might tie into Spider-Man. From what I've read online, Tom Hiddleston has been aware of how important his character was going to be since Infinity War. So a lot of characters in Marvel, they get half a script, pieces of scripts. They don't necessarily know what goes on with other characters. They just know their lines. But from what I've heard, Loki and Vision are two characters from the beginning who have known where and how far they're gonna go in the MCU, which is something that I think is totally awesome. Tom Hiddleston is really gonna show us his acting chops in the rest of these episodes. He was just in an interview and he released that 4 and 5 were his favorite episodes combined because they're gonna take things to a new level. As you can see, I'm really enjoying this season so far. What did you guys think of this review? Did you hate it? Did you like it? Did you love it? Only way that I'm gonna know is if you input things into my comments and we have a full-on discussion. I love nothing more than to communicate with my Merc fam. It's what I do. But you already know what it is, man. It's been a pleasure. It's your boy Merc, but I'm out.
Take the wheel, it's going out of control. I ain't got a flex, but my money swole. I'm flying real life, nigga, not just pose. Hands down, I'm the man now. You better do your research before I air it out. I'm smoking on reefer and it's very loud.